welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Extreme Layering series, and in this episode we're looking at the out cue, which is a specific cue I use for layering and distance handling. What does the out cue mean? It simply means drive away from me, or necessarily away from the object I'm next to. So in this example, if I'm here and I need my dog to get out to that jump, then I can use my out cue to tell them they're not taking that obstacle. I need them to drive away from me. To be fair, I can actually do this sequence without that, potentially, because if I tell my dog go and jump, that should be enough of a verbal to get them over there. But sometimes we're in a situation where we need the out cue to help us. To give you another example, suppose that wasn't a tunnel, suppose that was two jumps together. Two jumps together and I need them to drive to the one that's away from me. That's going to be hard because the jump cue could mean either or, and the dog would not be wrong if they took the nearest one. So in that situation, I would actually have to be putting the out cue, which means out, drive out away from me, and then the jump cue, which would tell them what to do. So when I'm teaching out, it's quite straightforward actually. It is just basically teaching them to drive away from me. So in this instance, come here my love, and sit. Good. So all I would do in this instance, I know I'm going to eventually ask them to do that jump. So what I would do is I'd put the toy out ahead of the jump. So like that. Out! Get it! So the dog is seeing that toy, it wants the toy, and all you have to do is release the dog to the toy and say out. If your dog, obviously she's got an out cue, if your dog hasn't got the out cue already, you could tell them to go get it, out, so that they associate the word with going to the toy out there. So in this instance, I'm going to step back a little bit and give her the opportunity to work out to that cue. Out, get it. Obviously this gets harder when you have to start telling them to go out without the toy there. And actually with this one, I wouldn't do that without offering another obstacle in there. So I wouldn't necessarily just tell them to get out and then throw the toy in. I could if I had a big open space, but it's a bit difficult for them to know where they're going at that stage. So at this stage, when I'm just teaching the cue, I'm teaching it with a toy on the ground to give them an idea of what they're doing. I know, my love. In terms of your body motion, with the out cue, if you're cueing with your body, I always do a nice definite step. Even when I'm trying to run like this, I'm going to make sure I have a real good definite step and arm gesture out. So when we get to this sequence and we're going to actually be doing that with me being over here, having to really send them out, that arm is important, really helps to drive them on. I would, obviously an ideal, you would be able to do that without an arm, but the arm is certainly a supportive cue and helps. And on a course, realistically, most of us will be using body motion as well. So be able to cue with that great big gesture will help. So once my dog is running out, I then want to add in the obstacle that they're going to be doing next after the out cue. So in this instance, it's the jump. So wait, I'm going to put the toy over there. I'm going to stand back and we're going to say out and then jump. And I'm going to cue with my body. Out, jump. Lovely. Now, did she need the out at that point? No, she was primed for that jump. However, when we get to a later stage, the out cue will become important. And certainly she's not as good as this is Sparrow. When you see with Sparrow, you will see how important that out cue is for her to get her to take the correct obstacle. When we're doing anything like this, we have to think what our dog sees. Our dogs are not psychic. They cannot tell what's going through our brain. They are reliant on our body and our words. Equally, they are a lot lower down than we are. So from their perspective, it's actually, if you imagine where Swift is, it's actually harder for her to see that jump. So potentially, if I was right over here and she's down here, she might not even be able to see that jump. That's why we need that cue that tells them to drive out away from me to then be able to cue the next obstacle. Good girl. So we've done a little bit, so let's make it even harder. She may not do this because I say she's pretty new to this. But I'll help her by putting the toy over the jump. I can even start doing a little bit of layering by putting my body behind this tunnel. So again, we're building up that discrimination. Out, jump, get it. I was late with my jump cue then. Now, the test now is, will she do that tunnel? We've done a lot of outs there. Will she do that tunnel? Ready? Tunnel, tunnel, tunnel. Good girl. She said, not an issue. She said, not an issue. So now we've done the tunnel. Can we get the out cue again? I'm giving her more time. I'm giving her further space back. Good girl, wait. To give her more time and me more time to pick up the cues. If you're using your body language, this makes it a lot easier for the dog. And as I say, certainly with the out cue, I tend to use my body language as well, because it's good to work with just verbals. Out, jump, get it. Oh, that landed on you. So you can see, she knew where she was going. I had given her a little bit of an angle. So let's test it with her looking at the tunnel, because this will be the challenge. Because I set her up so she was looking at that jump, but this time she's looking at the tunnel. I'm going to be here. Out, jump, swift. So do you see the difference that made? Good girl. Wait. So I won't be quite so far back, so I can really push in and push in. But sit, wait. When I push in like this, I'm actually shaping that line a bit more. I don't want to have to do that, but at this stage when we're getting success, out, jump, good girl. So this is a game you're going to play around with for a bit, mixing up where you go. And of course you can do it the other way, where you have the jump there and you send out tunnel. We don't want out to mean just to a jump. We want it to mean other things. So mix up what you're using it for. Okay, so now we've looking at those different and specific cues. In the next episode, we're going to look about adding in motion and really getting that layering challenge on ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video. And if you have, you might like to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram to see what all new things are coming out. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.